Cucino!
Where you in from?
Montana.
It's a long way from home.
Have a little chat about this.
Second season of 1923 continues strong with all of our characters going through their individual historical adventure at once. The thing is, though, at times, it becomes difficult to differentiate fiction from the reality, as some of these characters simply feel too real. Well, guess what? Turns out it is because they were actually real. I know, it's confusing. But let me make it clear for you. Apparently, for several of 1923 storylines, particularly in Season 2, Taylor Sheridan took heavy inspiration from the true history and integrated some real-life characters into the story. So, let's talk about it. First of all, I think we can all admit that Mamie Fawcett's character already made an impact in Season 2 with her recent debut. I mean, we already got the glimpse of what a badass officer she is. But with the information that I'm about to share, things will get even more badass, trust me. Here's the thing. Played by Jennifer Carpenter, the character of Mamie is based on a real-life historical figure who was one of the first female U.S. Marshals in Indian Territory. Can you believe it? I mean, did you know that we had female marshals even back then? Personally, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, and even for this fact alone, I'm grateful to 1923. Like, how come we don't get to learn about this in school? It's crazy. And just because this information alone, I can't wait to see how her storyline will be shaped in the upcoming episodes. Carpenter shared in an interview that playing Mamie was a huge honor, saying, "I've never felt more privileged as an actor to be a part of something. Just for posterity, I can't believe that this will be left behind when I'm not here anymore. I'm so very proud to be a part of it. And I can totally understand why she feels that way. Mamie isn't just another historical figure. Clearly, she was a symbol of breaking barriers. According to the behind-the-scene rumors, as the series goes on, we'll see how Mamie's experiences shape her decision-making, making it clear that while she's tough, she's not immune to the emotional toll of the world around her. I'm hooked, and I just can't wait to see where her storyline goes. But let me know what you guys think. But what truly shocked me was finding out the truth about the Meo Syndicate in Episode 2. As you all know, Spencer Dutton's journey takes a completely unexpected turn when he saves Luca, an Italian immigrant, and ends up entangled with Luca's family. And apparently, this family runs one of the most notorious Italian-American crime organizations ever to exist, which is the Meo Syndicate. You guys know that I never expected the Sheridan-verse to dive into mafia territory. In fact, in my analysis of the episode, I expressed that this looks way too much like The Godfather. And since the first episode's cage fights were similar to the Fight Club, I suspected that Sheridan was just taking inspiration from his favorite movies. Well, that might still be true, but more important than that, he apparently took heavy inspiration from real life, which makes so much sense. Apparently, Sheridan doesn't just introduce stereotypical mobsters either. Instead, he weaves in a fictionalized version of the real-life Maceo family from Galveston, Texas, which adds so much depth to the story in my opinion. But let me know what you think. When Spencer arrives in Galveston with Luca in the second episode, he's introduced to Salvatore Sal Maceo, portrayed by Giles Marini. We know that Sal is a bootlegger, a casino owner, and let's just say he's definitely not someone you want to cross. When we take a look at history, we see that Galveston was practically a haven for illegal activities, with its unregulated gambling and the constant flow of bootleg liquor back in the 1920s. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but personally, I'm fascinated to see how much of this aligns with history, especially considering the role the Maceo family played in Texas at the time. Is it just me, or is this show really good at blending historical facts with fiction? As you might remember, at the end of the episode, Sal Maceo offers Spencer a car in exchange for his help in delivering liquor to his various establishments. This sets Spencer on a path that I think will complicate things for him moving forward. But we will see. What really gets me, though, is the fact that Sheridan apparently has even bigger plans for this storyline. At this point, we all know that after 1923, 1944 will hit the screen as the brand new prequel series. And guess what? The Maceo family's story doesn't end with 1923. We know that by the 1940s, the Maceos had moved their operations to Las Vegas, where gambling had been legalized. Salvatore and his brother Rosario invested heavily in the Desert Inn, which eventually became part of what we now know as the Wynn Las Vegas Resort. Coincidentally, 1923 had its premiere there, making the connection even more interesting. It's crazy to think about how one family's legacy ties into modern-day Vegas, and I'm definitely curious to see how this will tie into future Yellowstone spin-offs. Plus, if we would continue to explore Maceo family's adventures, it would make much more sense for Spencer to end up there for a second. Because, let's be honest, their entire interaction in episode 2 felt a bit unnecessary. But let me know what you would like to see being explored in the future of the franchise regarding this mysterious Italian family. Another tidbit that caught my attention when looking into this history was that in 1937, Salvatore Matteo faced federal narcotics charges. Though he was acquitted in 1942, much of the family's stake in Vegas was eventually sold to the Fertitta family. If you've heard of the Fertittas, you know they went on to become major players in the business world. Lorenzo Fertitta, the former CEO of the UFC, and Tillman Fertitta, the owner of Landry's Inc. and the Houston Rockets, are all part of this powerful family. Also, apparently, in the 1970s, many of the casinos in Vegas were controlled by the Italian mafia. You might remember that the story of Frank Rosenthal, a sports gambler who worked with the Chicago outfit to take control of multiple casinos, was mentioned in Martin Scorsese's movie Casino. I just find it wild how these mafia figures from the early 20th century still have ripple effects in the world today. Leave me a black heart emoji if this is your first time finding about all these as well. But these are not the only storyline in 1923 Season 2 that takes heavy inspiration from the real-life events. Let's take a look at Lindy and Donald's storyline, for instance. You guys already know that I find this storyline very controversial, and personally, I hate to watch it. However, I have to admit that there is some reality to this disturbing power dynamic. From the first season, Lindy seemed to be under Donald's control, emotionally and physically, and in the beginning of Season 2, she is in the exact same situation. The good news, though, based on the behind-the-scenes rumors, we know that soon she will start fighting back. Apparently, as the season progresses, she's starting to realize the full extent of Donald's dangerous nature. So Lindy, played by Rogers, is stuck in this cycle of abuse, but she's beginning to develop survival instincts that I think will serve her well. Rogers recently talked about the realism of her character, saying, "There's something realistic about Lindy's situation. Many women in history have found themselves in similar circumstances where a dangerous man exerts control over them." And yeah, I can't disagree with her on this note. For more weekly updates and analysis on 1923, make sure to like and follow. Watch this video for a detailed analysis on the latest episode of the hit series.